What's up, guys? On the Flies back again tonight, and we're keeping it country again this week. Last week we had Justin Caleb with us from Brickshore Media, and again, Nicole has been gracious enough to hand me these up and coming artists. And guys, I'm telling you, Justin was great last week, and this week we are fortunate enough to have just after her video was put out yesterday for her new single Limbo, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in the future. We have Miss Noelle Toland with us tonight. How you doing? Did
I'm
I
doing
say your
great.
name right? I say your name right, didn't I?
Yeah, how'd you say it? It was no. How'd you say it?
Noelle
Uh-huh.
Toland.
Uh-huh. Yep, perfect.
Okay. So see, my last name, I don't know if you noticed or not, it's Flythe,
Yeah.
and I get pronounced Flythe, but don't
Okay,
ask me
so how do you
why.
say it?
It's fly. It's just fly.
Fly.
Don't ask me what. Just pretend like the THE isn't there.
Like Marty McFly?
Exactly. Hey, that was what everybody. I got called out more in high school than a little bit. Hey, Morty McFly. So
That's
yeah,
awesome. What a
yeah,
cool last name.
yeah. It's different. It's different, but and that's why when I did the show, that was one. I asked the people on my Facebook what would be. We had three names to choose from, and that one was it. But people still say, they'll some of them will come on shows that, oh yeah, it's on the fly, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it's not. But I'm used to it by now. So let's talk a little bit about you. While you're a busy lady these days. Um, Now, you didn't grow up in the South. The country artist, you didn't grow up in the South. You grew up in North Plains, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
So, growing up in Oregon, listening to music, what were you listening to as a kid? What was some of the stuff you listened to?
I grew up listening to country radio
Okay.
and I fell in love with the storytelling. And my father also loved soul music. So there was a lot of Al Green, Aretha, Marvin Gaye played in the house. And then my mom really loved singer-songwriters. Like James Taylor was the first concert I ever went to when I was 7.
Wow.
And yeah, I was just enamored. And also Carly Simon, I
Yeah.
love.
Believe it or
And
not, my daughter, she's getting ready to turn 19, has turned into like a big Carly Simon fan in about the last 2 or 3 months. We were going somewhere and she said of course she's got to have control of the music, and she was like, I'm gonna play the song, Daddy. She said, tell me what you think of this. And she played You're So Vain. And she
oh,
was like, who is that song about, Daddy? I said, that's been an ongoing thing for years. We don't I couldn't tell you that, but
well,
I'm
they think
sorry to
it's
interrupt you.
Mick Jagger. I think
Oh
that's
yeah,
he hasn't
does that?
officially said it, but
You
and
think
he's
that's who it
he's
is?
singing background vocals on that song too.
Wait till I tell her that. So, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were talking
Yeah.
about who you
Oh no,
Carly
I
Simon.
love talking about songwriters and music. I could go on forever. But my mom's from Louisiana, so and I spent a lot of time in the South. Like every summer, I would either spend time with my mother's side of the family down south or my father's side in Boston. But I just always identified with the stories that country music told. I'm from a
Yeah.
small town. Uh, I grew up in the country, and I'm an only child, and so I would put on these shows with my dog, who's my best friend, and I would just dress up and sing and dance and run around the house thinking I was like, some kind of performer. And when I
Hey,
was
good practice.
exactly, and my dog was the best audience, no booing
Yeah.
from him.
If the dog boos you, then you know you need to go a different direction.
Exactly, yeah.
Now you say you're from a
And
small town. How now I
mhm,
bet you I bet I can beat you. How small was your town?
it's around 2000.
I got you beat.
Yeah, what you got?
95 people.
95?
Yes, ma'am.
Stop.
We've got a stoplight. We have a private school. We have a country club, but we only have 95 people in this town. It's
Wow,
a
that's
little
a country
town, and
club.
yeah, yeah. I don't ask me how that wound up here. I don't know. I don't. I'd love to hear the story, but I've never heard the story of how it ended up here. But yeah,
What's the town called?
Lasker, Lasker, North Carolina. It's like Eastern North Carolina. The only time you'd probably ever hear it, and I know you probably, I don't know if you watched much American Idol in the past. You remember
Mhm.
Chris Daughtry?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he grew up right down the road from me. Yeah,
Oh,
he's from here.
wow.
Yeah. It's like
That's so
I don't,
cool.
it's amazing that out of this little town he came along, which he moved away when he was like 14 or 15. So we didn't see
Mhm.
much of him. And we've got a comment coming in. I don't know if you know who this is or not. It says hi from Jim and Nicole. So you got some people watching you up here.
Hi, Jim and Nicole. Love you.
So you said that your first concert was James Taylor when you were
Mhm.
7. So what was you and I asked the people all this all the time because there's a lot of them that I remember when I bought my first, and I don't know how old you are. I'm almost 50. So
Mhm.
I talk about the first album I bought with my own money because CDs went around when I was that age. But I'm sure you. What was the first CD you bought?
It was the Beatles, Please Please Me,
Wow.
and I was obsessed with the Beatles when I was a kid. Oh my, I was obsessed. And, yeah, it's that album where they're standing on a ledge and they're looking down. Yeah, I Wanna Hold Your Hand. I
See,
have a video. So when I was a kid, um, we had an assignment to come in and basically do a biography of a famous person, and I was the only girl that chose a guy. I chose John Lennon,
oh,
and
really? Okay.
so much fun. My dad helped me research everything, and I for the day of the presentation, I have it on tape, and it's hysterical. I have a yellow legal pad with all my notes, and I'm reading it, and you had to present yourself as if you were the person. So I was saying, my name's John Lennon. Uh, I first fell in love with guitar. I think it was My Bonnie was the song, and
Right.
uh, I really loved cats and as a kid, and I had this little kitty cat T-shirt, and I was so awkward. I had big Coke ball glasses,
Oh, wow.
su- super awkward.
This should
And then
this
the funniest part was at the end of my presentation, I took a little boom box and I put in the CD of the Beatles, please, and I pressed start on Twist and Shout, and I'm
Oh,
up there going like
this
this,
should be on YouTube. This should be on YouTube.
and I'm
Wow.
up there, and then slowly, after about like an awkward 30 seconds, one kid gets up and does the Twist and Shout, and then slowly it was like a domino effect. Slowly, a few more.
Well, see, that was a sign of things to come. You had the audience in your hand. You got the audience to get up and dance. So,
Yeah.
you talked about your parents had definitely an influence on you getting in music. When did you remember, like, I want to learn like guitar. I want to learn how to do this. Do you remember
So
when that was?
yeah, when I was 5, I got my first guitar. My parents got me one from Goodwill, and I'm left-handed, so
Oh yeah.
I don't think either of them knew that that's a thing at the time.
Yeah, I had no
Um,
idea. I never had any idea till recently that was a thing.
yeah, so I got this guitar, and we didn't have a tuner, and I didn't know what I was doing. I remember just strumming it with my left hand. And then I kind of just I got frustrated. I'm sure I got frustrated because if I wasn't really good at something right away, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would typically
Same
kind of go, oh,
same
I'm
here.
too
Same
frustrated.
here.
So, but about maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, when I was in LA and I was recording, and I was like, I need to understand how this thing works. So I
Yeah.
started guitar lessons, and I got a Yamaha, and I decided I was like, just gonna learn right-handed because I can watch YouTube videos, and I'll just figure it out how to do that because I write left-handed, but I can do other things with my right hand. Like I eat with my right,
Okay.
play basketball right-handed. So I got a guitar then, and then when I moved to Nashville, I really was like, I have to just woodshed this thing, and been practicing like crazy. And it's funny. It's very frustrating because it's a skill that you have to work hard at. But I will say, like, every day and every morning after I've practiced the day before, I'm a little bit better.
Yeah.
And it's just that little bit. I'm like, okay, it's building up my confidence with the instrument. So I'm by no means good, but I'm definitely working really hard.
I got you. My daughter, she's learning. She started learning how, and now I've bought one too, and I have yet to pick it up and to tune it yet. So I've got to get
Uh-huh.
around to doing that. I want to learn. Some couple more comments. My co-host on my sports podcast, Matthew Bazemore, saying, "Hi, Noel. Lefties are awesome." So he must be a
Hi,
lefty.
Matthew.
Knowing him. So yeah, isn't YouTube amazing? Though, can you imagine if you had YouTube when you were a kid? You could have learned to do anything. I fixed a washing machine off of YouTube, and I felt like I
Really?
was like, yes. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
if I would have never attempted it without YouTube.
YouTube's great. It's just such a great platform to share ideas
You can find
and
anything.
anything.
Yeah. So, did you ever venture out when you were when you were a teenager or whatever? Did you ever join a band, or
I
was it
tried
always
starting one. Yeah,
okay?
when I was 8, I was obsessed with No Doubt and Gwen
Wow, you're
Stefani.
all over the place, girl.
I love all types of music,
Oh, I do too.
and so I was 8, and I was like, okay, I got all my little girlfriends, and everyone was kind of like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
But that
nobody
was
was
the first
enthused as
and
you were. See,
last.
I was 5 years old. I had an older cousin. He was like 4 or 5 years older than me, and he was a Kiss fan. He showed me one of the covers, and I was just like that, and I was hooked. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, the shows like you talked about, yeah, I did those, but I was dumb enough. One of the stupidest things I've ever done in my life as a kid, I was probably 8 or 9. The guitar player, his guitar smokes like when he does his guitar solo, and I was like, oh, I'll do that. So I got a smoke bomb. Okay, heat and plastic don't mix. My
Oh, no.
After it was over with, my guitar that's probably worth about $300 now if you've got it right was a big old plastic. I was like, that
Oh,
was dumb.
no.
I was like, how stupid were you? But yeah,
I'm so
we did the
sorry.
whole show. We did the whole shows like that and everything. So when did you know, this is what I want to do? This is what I want to try to make a career out of.
When I was 5, I got on stage for the first time, and I was like, "What is this? I like this. I feel like I'm home. This is great." So it was around then I was like, I loved singing, and I would just spend so much time listening to music and trying to emulate inflection and pitch and phrasing, and I was just obsessed. And through school, I got involved with musical theater, and that provided me a lot of training in terms of just being on stage and building up my confidence. And then I went to Berklee College of Music when I was 15. I went for a summer program. It was a 5-week program, and I studied voice and musical theory. And that was really intimidating because everyone is so talented, and it's the best school in the world for music, as I'm sure you know. And I was thinking about going there for college as well. But I remember being like, whoa, I have to really like stand out some way, because it's not, in order to like forge a career, I learned there at an early age, it doesn't really matter how talented you are, because there's so many talented people.
Yeah.
I learned then, I was like, I have to figure out a way to stand out. But that's when I was like, okay, I have to and then I got back to school, and I think that was my sophomore year. And then I got cast as Lena Lamont in Singing in the Rain. And I don't know if you're familiar with the musical, but that part she's known for having a very high pitched, annoying, squeaky voice. And she does these like she talks
Oh,
crazy. And I was like the only one that's probably why I got cast. It wasn't because I was a great
you
actress.
were
It
the
was
only one that
'cause
could hit that note.
Yeah. And I had so much fun doing that. But that was around that time where I was like, okay, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to be a performer, and I want to be an artist.
Right. I'm sure your parents were thrilled, with them as musically as they are. I'm sure they were thrilled with that, though, to see that you wanted
Yeah.
to take that step.
Yeah, they were incredibly supportive of my dreams, my pursuing my dreams, and very grateful for that. And yeah, they've been a great support system my entire life, and I
That's
just am
great.
very blessed.
So how hard was it to make the move? I mean, you talked about you went to Berkeley, but making that move to stepping out on your own and wanting to be that performer, how hard
Yeah.
was it to make that move?
Well, first I moved to LA and I went to college at Loyola Marymount in LA.
Wow.
And that I moved there. I didn't know anyone, obviously, not obviously, but I just didn't know anyone. But by going to school, I naturally started to build a community and foundation. And when I got to LA when I was like 18, I was sending, and at that time it wasn't as easily accessible to record your own music.
Right.
You could get, and you couldn't, like, iPhones had, were, a new thing, and they were very expensive. So what I would do is I had a little tape recorder, and I would record myself singing, and I would meet people out, and I would email my little recordings. And feedback were like, "Oh, you sound great. Best of luck." I actually, a lot of feedback I was getting was like, "Go on YouTube. You should start recording yourself on YouTube." And I didn't really focus on that until later, because I think I was really concerned about I didn't want to put things out that weren't high quality.
Right. Right.
But what now is everything's like TikTok and authentic
Yeah.
and not polished. But yeah, so when I was in LA, I started playing covers at bars, and like the Viper Room, I played there,
Wow.
and yeah, that was a cool experience and vibe playing out there. And that was and it was always with a live band, and rocking out, and
What kind of
it's,
covers did you do?
oh, I did, gosh, I did, the first song I did was Tracy Chapman, Give Me a Reason.
Oh,
I
wow.
did
Yeah.
some Paul McCartney. I did Bonnie Raitt. It's funny. Had a Nashville Nights thing at Viper Room one time, and then it's kind of funny. It's like manifested me moving here, because one thing I was struggling with in LA was I was pursuing country music, and I just kind of felt like I was hitting a wall. And I think there's something to be said of being in the mix and the energy field of people that are pursuing a similar passion that you are. And I'm really grateful to be here in Nashville.
Right. That songwriting. We talked a little bit about this before
Yeah.
we went on there, and I was talking about how I'm amazed that you guys can just put it. Like I said, I did lyrics for one song. That was enough for me. I couldn't do it again, probably if I tried. But
I'm sure you're
it,
a lot better than you think you are.
I don't know. I've tried. I've had some ideas, but I just can't. I get. How you talk about. You said
Mhm.
when I'm not good at something, I get
Yeah.
frustrated with it. Yeah, that's me. When I'll get thinking about it. I'll have an idea, and when I get thinking about it, I can't come up with it. So push it to the
The
side, and
best trick for that is to not judge yourself and to just free write. And then you'll know, and then you can put things together later. But the best way when you have an idea is just write, and then think about who would I be talking to if I'm saying this? But
right,
the thing is, don't judge yourself, because I used to do that all the time, and I mean sometimes I kind of get caught and still do. But when you start, it's kind of like I call it writing with the non-editing brain. If you're writing with the editing brain, you're cutting off the creative flow that that happens when you're in a state of flow, when the good ideas come.
Right.
Cut that off. I call it the magic, you know. That's when you cut off. But if you write with the non-editing brain, where you're not judging what the ideas are coming through, that's when you allow the magic to happen. That's when you're like, oh, how did I come up with that? That's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm getting a songwriting class 101 right here. Put this to use right here. So writing that first song there, how hard was that for you? I mean, did you just did you come up with the idea, and do you remember the first song you wrote?
Yeah, gosh. I would write little things when I was a kid, but the first time I think I wrote a song was when I was at Berkeley, and it was terrible. I mean, and I went in, I remember I sang, it was like a competition, and I went in and sang it, and it was just, they were just like, thank you,
Okay.
Noelle. And I was like,
Boy,
wow, I
if they could
suck.
only see you now.
Oh, I was like, God, I suck. You know, and things like that, they can get it, they chip at your self-esteem. And but you just gotta, one thing I've told myself, it's like with anything, it's a skill that no one's born a genius songwriter. It's a thing you have to, you work at, and you can get better. And but the one thing is not writing with the editing brain.
Right. And Jim and Nicole said, yes, separate creating from refining. That's what they're saying.
Yes, amen.
So I'm sure, everybody was affected by it. You're out there trying to get your foot in the door and getting on. How did COVID affect you? I mean, how did that slow you down? I mean, it
Oh,
affected everybody, and I'm sure in your line of work, just like I asked Justin last week, he said, "Yeah, just maybe come to a standstill."
uh-huh. It was interesting for me. I was in LA, and it hit, and it was like, what is this? Wait, you're
Exactly.
telling me I can't go outside? You're telling me I need to wear a mask outside, and I'm gonna get in trouble. And then they had curfews, so I can't go outside after 5, 6 p.m. and I'm gonna get in trouble. And like my neighbors are gonna call the police on me if I have 5 people over. I mean, it was just nuts.
Yeah.
But what I early on, when we were on kind of lockdown, I was like, or when the lockdown started, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take this. What can I use? How can I use this to my best advantage? So I was like, okay, working out like crazy, writing, like just doing a ton of, just trying to be as creative as possible. Like really, I really took advantage of the downtime. And then I remember one day, there was some news that it was like really bad. Like we weren't getting, I think it was the flattening of the curve thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and I remember going like, screw this. And I went to I went to like Williams or whatever, Ralph's, whatever grocery store, and I got it's my guilty pleasure, my Cheez-Its, regular Cheez-Its and red wine. Like that's my
Cheez-Its and red. That could
I
be another the
just got
next
these
song
red
right
wines.
there.
Screw this.
Cheez-Its and red wine.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, did you ever get COVID?
Yeah, I did. Well, I got it when I moved to Nashville, actually.
Yeah.
So I moved in December 2020.
And I know
And
it affects people different ways, but I had it, and it was like I lost like 20 pounds in a week, and yeah,
oh
and the only thing I could eat was an orange. I mean, that's
no.
the only everything else, yeah. And I never lost my taste, but everything when I got my appetite back, everything's tasted salty for a while. But yeah,
Mm,
it was 102-degree fever for a while, for about 2 weeks. But yeah, it was. I'm not complaining. A lot of people had a lot worse than I did.
mm-hmm.
So, talk a little about your first single you did, which was I guess I'm right here. Prove Your Value. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What was it
Uh,
like recording that first single? Though I'm sure that had to be pretty exciting for you.
well, that's an interesting thing. So when I was in LA, I was working with a producer. Um, I had so when I started performing, when I was playing out live, a friend of mine who ran the nights had a kind of recording studio set up at his house. And I had never recorded professionally a song before. And it was around my mom's birthday or Mother's Day. And I had asked him, I was like, hey, do you think you could help me record a song for my mom as a Mother's Day gift? And he was so gracious and was like, yeah, of course. And because when I was a little girl, I would sing Walk Away Joe by Trisha Yearwood around the
Oh,
house all
wow.
the time.
Yeah.
And I
Love
just
that
love that
song.
song so
Love that
much.
song. Don Henley
Oh, yeah.
doing the backgrounds. That's so great.
One of the best songs ever written. I mean,
Yeah.
her vocals on it are just so rich, and
And it
she's
tells
the
a
best.
story, just like you talk about. That's what I love about it. It tells a
Yeah,
story.
tells a
You hooked
story.
me in with that. And then
Oh, yeah.
when you throw harmonies in like they had on that,
Mm.
yeah. I for all through, like I said, when I was young, I did not want to hear the Eagles. I was like, oh, the Eagles, oh. Then when they did Hell Freezes Over, and I was like watching them play Hotel California, and then I heard the
Uh-huh.
harmonies, I was like, what the heck? And I've been hooked ever since. I've been
Yeah.
hooked ever since. And you give me a
Oh,
good
and
harmony, I love
Desperados.
it.
Oh, Desperado is one of my favorite songs. I
Oh
love that
yes, yes.
song.
We could do a whole hour and a half on Eagle stuff. So,
I
but
love
yeah,
it.
so you ended up recording Walkaway Joe?
So I recorded Walkaway Joe, and I put it on a little iPod Nano and sent it to my mom so she could listen to it whenever she wanted to. And I also put it on SoundCloud, and it got the attention of a woman who was working for a producer who was starting his own label. And she reached out to me. She's like, hey, I would love to have you come in for an audition. My boss is starting a record label. So I went in and I met with this guy and Stefan Dickerson, and I worked with him for a few years. And early on, though, he sat me down and he goes, I think you have a real shot at getting a deal. And I was like, no,
Yeah,
I'm
you're like, nah.
no. I was like, no, I just because I was. I don't know. I just love to sing, and I just thought that was not, it wasn't going to work out because I tried out for The Voice, which was a horrible experience.
Oh
I just did
really?
it. Oh yeah. And I was like, no one, I'm like, I'm not, I was like, I'm not good, but
Oh,
and I was always singing and trying to write. And so anyway, so he's like, I think you have a shot at, could get a deal. And I was like, okay, well, let's try. So he was like, well, you got to write, can you write some stuff? And I was like, oh yeah. So that's when I was like, okay, uh, I'm gonna try to really write some good songs. So I got really focused, and I wrote that. And I wrote a couple other ones, and that Prove Your Value was one take vocal, and in his little studio in LA, one take. There's no adjustments on it. It's very raw, just a
wow.
piano and my voice, because I wasn't planning to put that out. We were just trying to use that to get me signed,
All
to
right.
show this is a one take. Like, she has such a great voice. Like, this is a one take. There's nothing done to her voice. So we ended up getting close to getting some meetings, but then nothing worked out. And that was, it's disheartening because it's rejection, but I'm used to it.
I can't, I don't take rejection well. I can't imagine how that is on you if you have to go through that over and over. I guess it makes you stronger and it makes you, but yeah, I probably would have after a few times I probably would say, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. But
Yeah, it is what it is, but when you love something so much, it's
yeah.
like, it's weird. It's like masochistic. Like, just keep slapping me in the face.
Yeah, just well,
But
you've done pretty. I think you've done pretty well.
oh, well, I'll
Another
try.
song that I really like that was "I Want to See You Again" with
Mhm.
legendary guitar player Steve Cropper, who was
Mhm.
if you guys recognize that name, and I'd heard the name and I was like, okay, where have I heard that name before? The
Yeah.
Blues Brothers. I was like, this is a guy on the Blues Brothers, and he's done so much other stuff though. I mean,
I
there's
know.
like a who's who that he's played with. I mean, I pulled it
Mhm.
up today, looking at who he's played with. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is like incredible. That
Oh, yeah.
song, that's a pretty good. I really like that song. Yeah,
Thank you
how was
so
it?
much.
How was it working with him?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, he's so talented, and I've learned so much just from being in his presence and hearing him talk about how Otis Redding came in,
Talking
you know,
about
and he's the reason that Otis got a recording contract, I believe. Just hearing the stories that he had and the way his mind works is so fascinating. And I remember the first day that I got the tape back with his guitar playing on the song, I was in my car and I just started crying. I was like,
I can see that. I can see that.
I
It,
can't believe Steve Cropper's playing on my song, and it's a song I wrote. It was amazing, and so I'm
and
just very grateful.
the fact that he played with on John Lennon's album too. I mean, that was
Yeah.
I was like that's. I mean, I'm just looking now at this list. You know, Aaron Neville, Dolly Parton,
Mhm.
Roy Orbison, Peter Frampton, Art Garfunkel. It's a
Mhm.
who's who of people that this guy's played with, and
Oh,
just
yeah.
then being on the Blues Brothers. That's what, and that's a shame that that guy was on the Blues Brothers movie. He was in the Blues Brothers band. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what got me. And I'll tell you
He's
this.
funny in that movie too.
Yes,
If you
he is. He is. That's and
I watched
anybody
it
if you
recently.
haven't, I hope Dan Aykroyd. If you're out there listening, I hope we can get you some views on the Blues Brothers tonight by talking about Steve Cropper up here. But
Uh-huh.
Rod Stewart, another one, Winona. Gosh, nice. He's played with
Mhm.
so many great. Um, but yeah, and I was watching your, looking at your YouTube channel all through the week, and you do some Christmas songs, which one of my favorite Christmas songs, and
Mm.
Dolly Parton, "Hard Candy Christmas," and you nailed it. I mean, you
Aw,
nailed it. Yeah,
thank you.
that and "I'll Be Home for Christmas." I mean, oh,
Mm.
geez, I was
Thank you
like,
so much.
have you ever thought about maybe doing a Christmas album in the future?
Yeah, like, I wanna do it tonight. Like, tomorrow.
If you do one, there was a song that Amy Grant did, "My
Mm.
Grown Up Christmas List." If you do an album, you have to do that one. That is one of the most beautiful
Which
Christmas.
song?
"My Grown Up Christmas List."
I'm gonna write that
Amy
down.
Grant sings it. You have to, yeah, you listen to that, because I think you could really do a good job on that one. And listen to me talking like I'm your manager or something. I think you could really do a good
No,
job.
I'm gonna go listen to it. I haven't heard
You
that
hadn't heard
one.
it before?
No, and I love Amy Grant.
Yeah, yeah, she's pretty awesome too. So let's get right down to the main reason we're here for. Your new single,
Mhm.
"Limbo." The video
Limbo.
just came out yesterday, and the video, I'm gonna say that, and the song. I don't know how big a fan you are of Yellowstone, the TV
Oh,
show.
I'm obsessed.
That song, the first thing when I heard the start of that song, I was like, this song belongs on Yellowstone.
That
And I'm like
would be awesome.
listening to it, and I was like, yeah, this will be one of those songs I could hear on Yellowstone. But limbo, everybody's been in that situation before. You're in limbo in a relationship, and you don't know what's going on. You kind of got a feeling, but you don't. And then you just rather, it gets to a point where you rather just say it's over, and then it
Mhm.
keeping me right here in the middle. And like I told you before we went on the air, the best line in the whole thing is it's kind of like at the little break in the middle. I'll even take it's me and not you. And then boom,
Yeah.
it goes back to it again. And I'm like, oh man, that's freaking awesome there. But yeah, what was it like? What's it? Tell us a little bit about Limbo, about how you come up with writing that and the video and stuff. I know I watched your short about when you got finished filming the video. You couldn't really let anybody know anything then, but what
Yeah.
was it like filming the video and doing and Limbo? Talk about Limbo.
Oh, it was so fun doing the video. I worked with, Lindsay Pacos, who directed and produced my other music
Right.
videos, and we rented a house and in 2 hours just shot this thing, and I styled it myself, and I'm independent, so
Right.
I wear all the hats. So I did get my hair blown out because I'm not good at my hair, but I did my own makeup, and we just rushed through and just did a bunch of different outfits and scenes, and it was so much fun playing a different character and being a little
Yes,
sassy and
you were definitely that.
so it was super fun, and I was blown away by. She is so talented, so I'm just lucky to get to work with her. And yeah, I started writing the song in LA, and the verses came first to me. Um, the notion of like, "Hey Joe, we've been going out a year. Where do we stand? Please make it clear." And but
Yeah.
this song was actually very interesting. How I wrote it. The working title was like at the beginning was Satisfaction, and I knew that wasn't right, but I just had it as a placeholder. And then I was working on the song, and I remember working on the chorus because I had the verses down, but I was working on the chorus, and I remember I called my dad and I was like telling him about the song. I'm like, I don't know, I haven't found the hook yet. And normally I start with the hook.
Right.
The hook usually comes to me first. It's a line and a melodic pairing, and it comes to me right away, and that's then I go and I build a story from there. But with this one, I don't know what to do. So I called my dad, and I was telling him, okay, so this girl, she needs clarity. I was like, I don't know if I like that. It's not. I don't know if that's what I want for the. It didn't feel right. I love
Right.
that word, clarity, and there's some beautiful songs written with it, but it was wasn't right for this song. And I was sitting there, and I was, I think I'd Googled something about relationships, or no, I think I was like I was like researching something about that state of unknown, and then limbo came up, and it was like a light bulb because it rhymed with Joe, and I said,
Yeah,
"Oh, this is
that
perfect,
works.
limbo."
Limbo.
And then I was like, "Okay, limbo," and then I was like, "Okay, what if I just repeat the limbo, limbo, limbo?" And I had this cool little falsetto run came to me,
Hmm.
and it ended up being a really fun song, and I'm really proud of it. And
It's an awesome song. Awesome song. And Jim and Nicole are saying your obsession with Yellowstone is an understatement. That's
they're right.
yeah.
Well, have you seen 1823
I
or
have not watched
1883?
it yet. I have to watch it.
1883 is the best.
1883, and it is a 1923 too, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen 1923 yet, but 1883, best television I've ever seen.
That's Tim McGraw and Faith Hill in that one, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
and they're
That's
amazing. And the girl, the lead actress, I forget her name, but she's fantastic. And the way Tyler Sheridan uses a dramatic irony in that is one of the reasons it's so good. Because if
yeah.
something happens and you're just like, what is going on? Like, what happens? And you're so invested, and it's so dramatic.
Yeah, this house is obsessed with Yellowstone. So yeah, and they won't know what to do when it's over with. Which I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm hearing next season might be it. I don't know what
Yeah.
people will do without Yellowstone.
Well, I think Matthew McConaughey is supposed to be coming on to
Yeah,
do
but
a.
I and I like Matthew McConaughey. And no, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be the same without Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner in that role, he makes that. It just won't be the same. But I mean, which Beth is, yeah, she's bad. I like Beth, but yeah, but Kevin Costner in that role, I don't know if anybody that would just wouldn't feel right. Nobody else
Yeah.
being the head or whatever they're going to do. I'm sure they figure out something different to do with McConaughey, but just end it. I'd rather them just end it with Costner than do that.
Yeah.
So let's do the. I'm gonna do some quick hitting questions for you,
Okay.
and then we'll talk a little bit about what you got coming in the future and where everybody can find you. Okay. And now this, you've already answered the first concert. That was one of my questions. So that was
Oh,
James Taylor.
I
That was
read your
James.
mind.
Yep, you got it. Yeah. Great minds think alike. Uh,
Mhm.
this is going to be a little tough on you because
Okay.
this would be tough on me, and because I it changes day by day. Uh, favorite song?
Forever and ever, amen. See?
Wow.
Gotcha.
Usually it's like, oh, okay, I got to name just one. Um,
I love Randy Travis so much.
yeah.
I love that song. I'd love to do a cover of it. I That song, it's my favorite.
There you go. It's up there.
I have you, Mr. Fly, to thank for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. There you go. It's up there. If you could, and this, I think you probably had this asked to you before. If you could collaborate with any artist, uh, living or not living, who would it be?
Collaborate.
Like
I would
do
say
a do like
Patsy Cline.
Patsy Cline? Okay.
Yeah. But
That's
living, I would say Luke Combs. I would love to work with Luke Combs.
wow. Luke Holmes, that's my daughter has, because I tried to do the new stuff, and I guess in my old mindset, I'm like,
Mm.
I
Have you
can't.
heard have you heard a lot of his stuff?
Oh yeah, and I had because she plays it. She plays it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story about Luke Holmes now. Luke
Yeah.
Holmes. Did you watch
He's
the
from
Grammy?
is he from near where you are?
That
Is
he's
he?
actually like way down west of us. But did you watch
Okay.
the Grammys when he performed?
I don't think I did.
Okay, well that was his first time performing at the Grammys.
Uh-huh.
The guy he got to introduce him was owned the bar that he played the first time in, and he employed uh, Luke as a bouncer, which he said he was a terrible bouncer. But that guy, his name's Justin Davis. He went to
Uh-huh.
school at the same school I did.
Wow.
He's from the same county. My daughter actually, for her senior trip, for her godmother took her on a trip. They went to Boone, North Carolina, which is where Luke was from. I guess he's from there. Well, that's where
Mhm.
that place is, and they went to that place, met the owner, and he told me, he said, you see right there, he said that spot right there is where Luke Combs. The first time I ever met Luke Combs was right there, and she was
Oh,
just like,
wow.
she was like, oh, but she likes that. She's got me kind of hooked on that new country, so
Yeah.
I can handle some of it now. Some of it's a little, but I can handle like Luke
Yeah.
Combs,
I get
Morgan
you.
Wallen. I like Morgan Wallen.
Mhm.
I really like
Yeah.
him. And what's that guy's name? Ernest. The what
Ernest
he does
and
Flower
Hardy.
Shop. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Flower Shop. I love Flower Shop now.
me
Um,
too. He has a new song called The Songs We Used to Sing, I think. It is great.
I'll have
Ernest.
to check it out. I'll
It's
have to check it out.
great.
See,
I've
because
listened to it 10
I
times in a
do
row.
a yeah. See, that's how I did with Flower Shop. When I've heard that the first time, we were on the way. I was taking her out to eat, and she played. And after that, I was like, "What's the name of that song?" And I didn't want to let her on like I liked it or anything like that. What's the name of that
Yeah.
song? And I sat there, got home, and listened to it on my headphones over and over again.
Yeah.
And then when we got in the car, the next time I was singing it, she was like looking at me like, "What?" But what was I going to tell you, though? Okay, let's just move on. Old man, I tell you what,
Was
enjoy
it
it.
Luke Combs or Morgan Wallen? We were talking about Morgan Wallen.
Morgan Wallen, yeah,
The songs we used to sing. You
yeah.
got to listen to that.
I'll listen. I'll definitely check that. No, I was going to tell you what I do too. Uh, I took it upon myself to start listening to stuff that I really hadn't listened to before, and I do
Mm.
it like a album challenge. And I'll pick an album and I'll do the whole album from cover to cover. And
Mhm.
I've listened to some stuff that I didn't think I liked that I love, like, and that was Morgan Wallen was one. Gosh, it's been. I've listened to the Beatles, which I wasn't a big Beatles guy. My dad listened to the Beatles. My mom was a diehard Elvis fan. That's all we ever heard
Mm.
in the house. On Saturday when she was cleaning, we had one of the old stand-up radios with the turntable on it. She would blast that stuff too, boy. So yeah,
How
I've come to
cute.
appreciate Elvis more over the years, though.
I love Elvis.
Okay, now this may be harder for you than the song.
Okay.
Something you listen to that people would be surprised that you listen to. And knowing you now that you say you listen to a lot of different things, I don't know if people would be surprised of anything you listen to. But what was something you think first thing that hits you that people would be like, "Wow, she listens to that."
I mean, I don't know if it'd be surprising, but I love Britney Spears, but like 1999, 2000s Britney Spears.
Okay, when she first started.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mariah Carey. I don't know if that would be
that's
shocking.
now you see, but you're like me. You like music. I mean, good music.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So a lot of people get trapped into this whole, well, if I listen to this, like if I listen to country music, I can't listen to anything but country
Yeah.
music. And I'm
Well,
not
also,
like that.
yeah, I love AC/DC. That's what
There
I
you
work out
go.
to.
There
Yeah,
you go.
AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC and Zeppelin are probably my favorite bands, and then the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. I mean, there's so many, but
See,
AC/DC, yeah.
there's certain Zeppelin songs that I like, but as far as an overall Zeppelin fan, I'm just like,
Mhm.
okay, I can't. Some of the songs are too long. I can't.
Yeah.
You do an 8, 9 minute song, and I'm like, oh gosh. But yeah, that's like Misty Mountain Hop. I like that. And Stairway to
Mhm.
Heaven's okay, but I've heard it so many times now, it's just fatigue for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
So that's pretty good. Mariah Carey's good with me. I was a
Mhm.
big and I had to hide it a little bit when I was a teenager, but Debbie Gibson.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
She
my
was
lord.
cute.
I've got some Debbie Gibson CDs over there right now that I still have. And my daughter, we raised her right. We got her at 3 years old. It's on YouTube. Her singing "Lost in Your Eyes." Yeah,
Aw,
she did. At first, she didn't know we were filming her. We were on the way somewhere. But yeah, this
that
pretty
is
cool.
so cute. It's on
Pretty,
YouTube?
yeah, it's on YouTube. She does a
Mhm.
couple of songs on there. But all right, I think I've taken up a lot of your time tonight. But let's
No,
talk a
you
little bit about where we can find you. Of course, the website, and I'm looking at the
uh-huh.
website right now is www. Dot, does anybody ever say www anymore?
Yeah,
I
I
don't.
think so.
I
WW.
NoelleToland.com, and
That's
that's
me.
yeah, that's I'm looking at your face up here right now. Um, And you can find her there. You can find her, what, Instagram?
All my socials, yeah, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, um, Twitter. I'm on everything.
She's all
So
out
you can
there. She's
find
all out there.
me there.
I'm pulling up your YouTube right now, I think. I think I subscribed to it. Should have
Yay!
yeah, I'm sure I did. So what's planned in the future now? Is there any more new music coming?
Yeah, I'm actually in the studio right now working on 4 new songs that I've just recently written. I'm really excited about. They're special, and I'll be releasing those. I'll be releasing my EP, which will have 4 songs, the 3 of which are my singles that are already out: "Limbo," "Sun
Right.
Will Rise," "I Wanna See You Again," and then also a Patsy Cline cover of "Poor Man's Roses" that Steve's also playing on,
Okay. So we'll
which
be looking
is
for
a
that.
yeah, it's a really cool song. We took "Poor Man's Roses," which kind of had, of the era, it had this kind of bouncy kind of vibe to it. It was a beautiful song, and Patsy Cline's an icon.
Yeah.
But we put a modern spin, a modern bluesy spin on it, and it's a great song. I'm proud of it. So that'll be the EP that I'll be releasing very soon, and then shortly after, I'm gonna be releasing new music. I'm writing like crazy, like can't stop me.
Yeah, can't stop you. Oh, look, now see this. I don't know if this is. I'm assuming this is Nicole saying this. She heard me talk about Debbie Gibson. She said, "Yes, only in my dreams." Yes, yeah, I could listen to all of that. That everybody knows my secret's out. I'm a
Oh, I
Debbie
love it.
Gibson. I'm a Debbie Gibson fan, big time.
Oh,
Um,
so cute.
Talk a little bit before we let you go. You brought
Mhm,
up talking about doing an EP.
mhm.
Is it is it easier for you now to just put out singles a little bit at a time, or in this day and time with, you've got YouTube, you've got
Yeah.
Spotify, you've got Apple Music. Is it easier for you to put out singles at a time until you get enough for an album, or
Um, no, I think it's more cost effective. If I don't know, I've never just gone to produce one song.
right?
Every time I've done a project, the last 2, I guess 2 times, I've gone in with 3 or 4 songs that are ready. Um, but I think unless you're very established and you're signed, I don't see the point for myself personally to do an album. I mean, I would love to produce lots and lots and lots of albums, but
Right.
it's a business and
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
need to build a following. and release singles that can get on people's radar. And so, yeah, I think it's different now than it
It's
was, because
definitely,
now you
it's
can,
definitely,
the beauty of yeah, and I think the things like networks like TikTok and like YouTube, you can release and post videos of unreleased songs and get actual feedback from people, and which can lead to you recording the song or not. If the feedback's like, oh, I don't really like that, but the first time in history, I think this is, you're getting actual feedback from people that would listen to your music, as opposed to just in the old days, they had
yeah.
gatekeepers who would release certain things that had to be at a certain, level. So it's leveled the playing field, social media.
And
That's for sure.
it's give a lot of people that may not have had that chance in the old days. It's giving them a chance to get discovered now, which I think is great. A lot of people are
Yeah.
like, well, they're not paying their dues. But my thing is, if they can sing, if they can put, if they can put a good
Yeah.
music out there, who cares about the dues part? I mean,
Mhm.
they're doing it just like everybody else did. I mean, they're
Yeah,
just getting discovered quicker. I
totally.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do our best to get you that following, to try to help and get you that following if you don't already
Thank
have
you.
it. Because look, well, I have so enjoyed talking to you tonight. You
Me
guys,
too.
yes, yes, you definitely. I was a fan before, but you definitely got me as a fan now. I'm looking forward to
Well, I'm a fan of
these.
you too.
Yep, follow her on YouTube, follow her on all the social medias. And guys, just watch out for this girl because she's going to be something in the future. That is Miss Noelle Toland. Thank you so much. And I hope you
Thank
have
you.
a great night and good luck to the future. And we will definitely be keeping up with you. And next time when you get ready to put something else out, let me know. We'll get you back on and we'll talk some more.
I will for sure. Thank you so much for having me, Stevie. It's
And,
been such a pleasure.
and thank you to Jim and Nicole and Matthew for chiming in. We appreciate you guys' comments. And guys, that's going to do it for tonight. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week on The Fly.